Howdy folks, Walter Cruz here, born October 21st, 1958. Just doing a video about an upcoming book that I'm writing. It's an autobiography. The book's basically a book on survival. Many different things I've survived. Grew up in a large family of several brothers and sisters, and so it was a good upbringing. Dad took us fishing and hunting and camping a lot and skiing. We skied a lot around Breckenridge, Colorado, and Monarch, Colorado, Monarch ski area. So that was good growing up. There were some rough times and good times, and you had to watch out with Dad that you didn't cross the line, because he had an iron fist and it hurt if you wanted to just keep testing him. So anyways, Mom is she's our saint. She's the matriarch of the family, now 96 years old, still sharp as a tack. Amazing how her mind is, and she's just a sweetheart of a gal. So she did all the cooking and the baking. She was always baking breads and cakes and all kinds of really good food. So with the large family, you had to get after the food quick, otherwise you were going to miss out. So we just got whatever food we could, and not like we were starving, but it seemed like I was always hungry, and I wasn't very big. I was pretty skinny, so don't know why I was hungry. Like, I would go to my friends' houses, and first place I'd go into was their kitchen to see what kind of food they had, because I was still hungry. But you know, that is what it is. So then, growing up through the years, finally got to high school, graduated, excuse me, and then got off on my own. I was kind of wild, and you know, just, all right, got out of the house, it's time to get wild and do my own thing. Well, then it got a little crazy, because in a little cottage I had caught fire, and I ended up in the fire. Had a buddy that came down. He would come down on the weekends, and we'd go out, chase girls, and you know, have a good time, drink too much. And then house caught fire. My buddy, he was in the living room. It was just a little one-bedroom cottage. I was back in the bedroom. He jumped out through the window, never did come see what was going on with me. I woke up on fire and worked my way through the fire, got to the front door. These are things that you'll read in my book, which is, by the way, called No Expiration Date. Hopefully someone doesn't steal that title now that I mentioned the title. But if I got to switch the title up, it is what it is. So anyways, as you can see, my hands got pretty torn up from the house fire. But I walked through the fire, got to the front door, and inhaled too much smoke, fell right back into the fire, completely passed out. Carpet was burning. I landed on my back. The carpet melted into my back, so I got many third-degree burns, especially my hands. Covered my face like this, going through the fire so I could see where I was going. Then last thing I remember was falling backwards, and then I was dead. So they came, and paramedics, the fire department was right around the corner, so they didn't have far to go. And I woke up outside the house on the ground, and they were giving me oxygen. They had cut a tracheotomy right in my neck, right at the throat, and that's what they stuck a tube in there and got oxygen to me. So I was breathing again. I woke up, thought I was just having a bad nightmare, and I was like, man, I just need to wake up. This is not a cool nightmare at all. Of course, what nightmare is. Anyways, turns out it was not a nightmare. It was actually happening. So they got me to the hospital. Started right away on what's called skin debris. And that was all the charred black skin all over. Everything that was burned was just charred. And they did the skin debris, and they would have to take tweezers and pick and pick and pick and pick and pick and continue picking, taking off that old dead skin, and then the new skin buds would start growing, and those were very painful. Any little slight breeze was extreme pain. So then eventually they would dip me into a whirlpool, put me in a harness, dip me down into the whirlpool, and that would loosen up that dead skin so they could continue skin debris, and then lots of skin grafts. In between my fingers is actually my legs. They took skin from my legs so they could give me dexterity with my fingers because they were melted together. So the pinkies were burned so bad they had to amputate both pinkies. So they got all that skin debris and all the skin grafts, lots of skin grafts. They would take huge chunks of skin off my legs. There was a few areas that still had good skin that was not burned, and they would use that for the skin grafts, along with pig skin was more of a temporary graft. And I don't want to tell you too much about the fire because you'll see it all, you'll read about it in the book. Eventually they had to take me, they wanted to fly me down to a burn unit in Houston, Texas. It was the big burn center, probably the biggest one in the United States. But pneumonia was setting in, and they didn't want to take a chance of flying me down to Houston, so threw me in an ambulance and took me up to Denver General Hospital burn unit, where I spent a long time. Thank God for my dear sweet mother, who was there a lot, giving me hope and praying a lot. Dad, I can't remember if he came to the hospital or not. I think he just, it was probably too much for him. He didn't want to deal with it. And then, so eventually anyway, survived the whole thing and went through all the skin grafts, a lot of lung damage. So, you know, if you like this video, please subscribe and like the video, and that would really help my channel. And I'll have more to talk about in the upcoming videos. This is part 1. So subscribe and say you've been in the hospital in the comments. Yeah. If you've been in the hospital and you went through some burns, let me know what you went through. And again, my book is going to be talking a lot about everything about survival. So thank you, folks, and I'll see you on the next video. Appreciate it. And